Oh, we're live.
Good evening.
Welcome to our show. It is Thursday evening, and you know what time that is? It is time for the Author's Dilemma show. So tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. For the past 3 months, we have focused on different topics, different things, different category, or different things that we thought we should discuss. And tonight we're just kind of opening it up to have a discussion. So if anybody is watching, they can pop in the questions and talk to us, and we will try to answer those questions or have a conversation. But first, I am J.E. Jack, and I write urban fantasy and paranormal thrillers.
I'm Hyrum Hawks, and I write hard sci-fi and sci-fantasy.
And I'm Jennifer Carr. I write Christian fiction and clean contemporary romance.
And we are so happy that you're here with us, either tonight or in the future, wherever you are listening to this right now. So let's talk about business. Hiram, what's going on in your business?
Well, been kind of just trying to dive into some of the learning stuff. I've been talking, I have an editor that's a college student. She edited my last book, did a great job, and we've been discussing having her do some stuff beyond just editing. I have concluded that marketing is my unlikely to ever do thing. Like, honestly, I don't think, I would honestly rather never actually sell a book than do marketing myself, which probably is not a great attitude, but it's been a year and I haven't had any motion in marketing. Like, it just, you got to be honest with yourself at some point. And so she's studying some of the stuff I paid for to train me on marketing. I gave her the login and she's studying it. And we're going to see if we can't team up. So with me starting a new job next week, I'm going to have an income again so I can start paying her come June, and we can maybe she can do the marketing and then the two of us can work through the books.
Well, congratulations!
Big stuff.
Congratulations on your new job, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, I get to go back and forth to Durham, North Carolina.
Hey, that's a distance from Utah, folks. From Utah.
It's a 4-hour direct flight. Very nice.
So, Jen, what about you?
Well, it has been a busy couple of weeks around here. The Connected Conversations for Creatives podcast season 3 started recording yesterday. And so since yesterday, I've had 4 conversations with 4 different authors, which has been very interesting. We're running the gamut, and we went international last season. I was in 4 different countries with guests, not me specifically, but my presence was.
One day.
One day. And my first guest this next season, he's in the UK, and I've got one from Amsterdam and one from Berlin and one from Canada so far that I know of. So that's pretty exciting. I was like, oh, look, we're international.
How many episodes do you have in a season?
So season 2 is 46. Season 3 will be 51.
Wow. Okay. So your seasons, what do is it like yearly or is it?
Just about, yeah.
Okay.
They go weekly. I do take the week of Christmas. I don't post one because nobody's going to listen to it, and the week of New Year's I don't post one because nobody's going to listen to it. I usually go back and find something old to put up there, and so I need a good 50 weeks worth, and so I am set until June of next year. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun. And then I hired me a virtual assistant who posts everything that I want her to post to Facebook and Instagram. I don't have to think about it or worry about it, and I love it. So that's been fantastic.
I can only imagine that frees up. Not only is it a weight off your shoulders, but also frees up your creativity to focus on other things as well as your. Well, I mean, it just frees you up. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So in my world, I started using BookBub ads, and I'm learning how to go through that process, and I've made some sales, but I don't know where they came from. And that's the problem when you delve into something new. Like so right now I'm using Amazon ads as well as BookBub, as well as just meeting people in my life, and I don't know whether it's from. And in fact, this past week there was this person that said, I bought all your books because I didn't know you wrote. And I'm like, oh, well, first off, thank you. But second off, that makes me kind of like, well, my ads must not be working because those sales, I know where they went. for those days, you know. And it's just like, okay. So anyway, it's a learning process with the marketing. As far as I have a book that's going through the audio process, and the narrator just sent me the first 15 minutes to check off, and sounds pretty good. So moving, full steam ahead on that, and that's pretty much it.
My narrator is currently working on my book too, and had his appendix out, so we had a little delay.
Yeah. There's nothing like reading the sentences with "ow, ah." Need some more morphine. Ah.
Actually, since we're being a little random today, here's a little tidbit for people if you want to write delivery. Now, I only have it from my perspective. I've never been the one delivering the baby, but I have been the one trying to keep the person delivering the baby happy-ish. Turns out that when you're in active labor, don't crack jokes, because I was cracking jokes, making her laugh the entire time, and at one point she just says, "This is very funny, but you need to stop because it hurts when I laugh." And so there's a little tidbit for you, for future fathers, and for just writing a book. If you want a very comedic scene, have during labor that you can still make a woman laugh. They just won't. It just hurts.
So it looks like we do have some viewers. If you're watching and you want to tell us where you're watching from, be sure to pop that in the comments, and we'd love to say hello. And if you have any questions, again, use it.
Yeah.
Or if you're not here, send us an email at
gmail.com. In fact, that'd be even cooler. Like, hey, I listened to your show in Timbuktu, and I'd be like, that's fantastic. Where's that at?
Michigan.
Why is that the default location?
I don't know.
No one even knows where it is.
Well, I just remember growing up, home like a piece like. remember that old commercial? Where
no,
okay, I guess not. I guess it must be my age, but in the 80s. No, it was like a telephone, like AT&T, and someone was calling someone, and the home like a piece like, and it was like some country, and it was something about connection. Obviously, the marketing didn't do so well because I can't really remember what it's about, but I just remember that particular part, or the marketing did very well because I only remember that part.
Timbuktu is in Mali.
Oh, well, there you are.
That makes sense.
There you go. I had to know. Sorry.
Yeah. So what is newsworthy to talk about? Although, although you did bring up an interesting topic to talk.
Well, last week I had mentioned the Readers Take Denver conference that had gone so badly, and they had already scheduled 2025. There was such horrible backlash that they have canceled 2025's event, and they were just like, we can't do this. Like, there's just no way. And I was like, and people are mad because not everybody's getting a refund because they prepaid to be there, and it's bad.
Wow.
I know.
I would have something, like, even if it's not, gosh, their name is trash now.
It is. And so
unfortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how the person is.
Right. And I don't know the ins and the outs of how it started. I don't know if this, I'm pretty sure it was the first year they had done it. But I'm just thinking for authors, be very careful getting into events. Events are great. Events are fun. I love doing events like that. But make sure that they've been established, make sure they have good management in charge of things. So look for red flags.
Especially if you've never done it before. Like, if you're going to do it, do something small. See if you can figure it out.
Small. Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. So anything else newsworthy? Hyrum, you might as well talk about it because you brought it up previously to this time.
So I don't think we should enter judgment on either side of this one.
No,
but the conversation is going on. Bear versus man. Who do you want to meet in the middle of the woods? And that has been like dominating my feed, which it's gotten to the point where I'm like, the crap, this is kind of getting annoying. And of course, we all know that if you're in Russia, it's the bear because they already live with the bears. I've seen many of those memes.
Yes. That's just Bob. Right?
Yes. Well, in Poland, they had a bear on their artillery. Like
Yeah.
during, I believe it was World War II, the bear was a corporal. They gave him a rank, and he carried artillery shells for the team, and he followed them around. I think at some point he ended up. I don't even remember.
I read about
got
that,
involved
and
at some point.
yeah, I read about that, and honestly, it's kind of sad because after the war, I mean, it's kind of like they put him in a zoo, and I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, yes.
Yeah, I don't want to get sad right now.
If anyone listening thinks the bear versus man thing is super important.
Okay, well, first off, we need to establish it. So I guess the conversation, and I didn't know anything about it because I'm rarely on social media throughout the week. Apparently, the question is asked to people like, if you're stuck in the woods by yourself, who would you rather come across, a man or a bear?
A random man.
A random man,
totally
not
random.
just any man. Just someone, or a bear. And what did you say? 80% of the responses.
What I've been hearing, the women almost universally, 80% at least say they'd rather run into the bear. Now, almost universally, the men say they'd rather run into the man. This is definitely a sociological or psychological, I don't know which, one of the logical things we've got to address as a society, because whether or not you understand it, if it's the gut instinct of a significant percentage of your population, that's a pretty serious consideration to make. So that's something that is a deep conversation, probably need to be had with your psychologist or your counselor,
for sure.
because if you're defaulting to bear,
but then again,
or a man? Both are worrisome.
Well, the thing is like, if that's the conditioning, then is it necessarily their fault? No.
No, I didn't say no one's fault. Yeah. It's just
right,
if your default is that a vicious animal is safer than a man, then either the men in your life are really dangerous, or you are vastly underestimating what a bear is, or both. So, because to be frank, I know I'm safe, but I do know that a significant number, like in my wife's life, a significant number of men were not safe. They were between psycho
I just know
or
that
sociopaths.
Anybody that I meet in the woods, I'm going to be armed. So
right,
I'm going to be okay.
But no, this is a great topic for an author to think about. We really do need to be thinking about these kind of things with our characters. Yeah. Because if your character, when you're right, okay, plotter or pantser, doesn't matter. You got to know your character. And so if your character is a female, and you got to ask that kind of question, not necessarily that exact question, because that exact question is pretty specific, but who do they see themselves as? Who do they see others as? Are they scared in all situations, or are they like me, where because you're a 6'3" man that weighs over 200 pounds, you just kind of go through life assuming that life's not really scary. No one's ever threatened me physically. I've had some psychological terrorism, but that was, the last time I was bullied was in 6th grade when a kid punched me, and that was it. That was in the stomach. It was like, oh, that hurt, and then never got hit again. Yeah. Grew up in a pretty safe place. I am in many ways, it's a privilege that I am the most dangerous person in most rooms, simply by nature of being bigger than everyone. But my wife is small. She's crippled. She cannot. So you got to ask the questions for your characters, because your default is not everyone's default.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and I will say that as an author, having an opinion is good. Using it is good. Speaking it in public, that can be dangerous. It's not so good. And I was literally having this conversation with somebody yesterday. We were talking about cancel culture and how, you can get canceled super fast as an author just for going against the mainstream, right? Just if you have an opinion that is politically different, religiously different, sociologically different, all of these things, and you voice that opinion and somebody disagrees with you, immediately you're on the chopping block. It's like, we're done here. We don't want to read their books because. And so, which goes against the entire point of the arts, right? Like we're artists. We're supposed to buck the system, but that's not what happens. Instead, it's, oh, I don't agree with you. You don't agree with me. Well, I'm right. You're wrong. And we're done here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get
J.K.
all
Rowling.
my friends
Yes.
to jump on the bandwagon with me.
Yes.
that's
Whether or not
unfortunate
you agree
because-
with J.K. Rowling's opinions, she has a right to them, and she
Yep.
shouldn't. I mean, she shouldn't be thrown out just because she has a different opinion than mainstream.
Yeah.
Especially when
if you don't want.
I mean, I saw this, and and here again, I'm going to butcher it, but I saw this really well put together. It was like a teacher that teaches writing or philosophy or something like that. And someone came up to him and said, "Hey, did you hear?" And he's like, "First off, did you hear it firsthand?" No, well, I heard it. Well, what was actually said? Well, it was this. Well, some people, or who are some people? Well, just what do you think about this? And then when they actually dissected what the conversation was, the student at the very end was like, "Well, actually, there's nothing wrong with this particular, And it was just, and that's the problem is, I think a lot of people these days we're taught to think with feeling instead of actual.
Yeah. There's no critical thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous because we do decide things with emotions. That is part of decision making. If your amygdala is damaged, the emotion center in your brain, you cease to be able to make decisions. There have been multiple studies on that. It does take people getting brain damage to study it, so there could be convolutions that we don't understand. But in fundamental, you do make your decisions emotionally in the end. That's one of the reasons, like, I have a side business, quantum computing. We're trying to take the emotion out of decisions. We want to use simulations and have real results. Great, that would be fun.
Skynet.
But that's a long ways away. Yes, it's Skynet, but we want it benevolent.
Says every AI take over the world ever.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
Yes. I know.
Funny.
That's why I'm working on it. Because if I don't make it benevolent, then someone else might make it not benevolent. So maybe I can influence it and keep the Terminators away.
That's hilarious.
And you're married to a Gen Xer when you say what you do for a living and she thinks, "Oh, you're making Terminator?" No, I'm trying to avoid us making Terminator.
Yeah.
That's great. So let's move to the next thing. Rob brought this to my attention this last week, and it was something I hadn't heard about. There's an app called Headway. Have y'all heard of it?
No.
Okay, so it creates 15-minute audio summaries of books, and right now it's only like self-help books, business books, and stuff like that. Like they're nonfiction books, and there's a team of content creators who literally go through, and the goal is to summarize these books in 15 minutes.
Wait, humans are doing this?
Humans are doing this, and it's not a summary in the fact like it would go on the back of a book. Like, these are detailed summaries that that you're not going to get with even a sample chapter, because it's taking from the whole book. And he said, the book I'm currently listening to was not on my radar before I listened to the summary. So the existence of the summary introduced me to the book rather than negating it. Like, there was more detail to it that drew him in. What do you think about that?
It's kind of like the cliff notes of any textbook or any heck, I remember growing up, going to Walden Books or even Barnes and Noble later on, the Sparks notes.
Notes, yeah.
It's like, well, you need to read this. You bet I will. And then you go get the Cliff Notes.
Yeah. And those things had like character descriptions and motifs and everything in it. Yeah.
No, I don't think it's anything different. The only thing that's different about it, I think, would be is you said it's audio, or is it?
Their audio summaries.
Both. It has audio. It looks. I just pulled up the website. It also has some reading.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, this has, just right off the bat, I can immediately think that, maybe Disney would sue just out of principle, because they sue everyone. Yeah. But I'm sure that there's a line, because if you're summarizing someone else's work, that's fine. But if it depends how long it is and how much you're cherry picking, how much you're taking, because that can start, like, if you were to take someone's thesis and you were to say it in different words, but they own that concept, that could be problematic. But so it sounds like a great idea, because I will never read those 300-page treatises on self-help. But if someone told me, like, for example, Story Genius, fun book, really helpful, but I'm halfway through and I'm done, because sure, there's more to it, but I just give me the assignment, because the whole first chapter was just convincing me of what I'm like, I already kind of believe this. Can we move on? But
I find that with a lot of self-help books is, the first couple chapters are always like, oh, in this story, this happened. Oh, in this, to kind of sell you on it. And then they kind of, it seems like each chapter has a little bit of sell with, just give me what I need.
Yes.
I'm already on board. You don't have to keep,
this could be this could be useful in in fiction too. Because for example, I have read through halfway through book 9 of the Wheel of Time series twice. Book 9 killed me twice. I couldn't get through it. And then I finished book 8, half of book 9, stopped, went on a mission, gone for 2 years, a few years, got done with college, tried again. 9 killed me. And so if I just had a summary of book 9 and could just jump to book 10,
the next one.
I'd probably also need to read books 1 through 8 summaries, get through it, and then I could just jump into 10. I could see that being helpful in the world of oversized epic fantasy.
The only way I got through with Wheel of Time, especially the latter books, was audiobooks, because I used to do a lot of driving, and that helped out a lot.
Even then, book 9, I just faded. I've never had that happen where an audiobook was so dull that I just kind of didn't hear it. My brain started doing other things.
Now, when it comes back to the summary, the thing I would be upset about is if, like, I don't want people to because most of our stories have a moment, and I would be highly upset if if you didn't buy the book and you're just reading the summary of like, oh, now I know what your story's about. I'd be like, but do you?
Right.
With a fiction book, I see that as a problem, because the whole point of fiction is to go on a journey, to go through the emotional arc. But with a nonfiction book, I'm there for the topic. I'm there for the knowledge. I don't want to go on an emotional journey. I want to know how to do X, Y, and Z. I mean, I have 3 master's degrees and I never once read a textbook. I literally just looked for the bolded words and moved on.
Yep.
We could say so much about there's a conversation there somewhere, and I'm trying to develop it. It's like either that is an amazing school that you went to, or it's not. And I don't
What happened is I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life until I turned 40 and was already halfway through my last master's degree. Then I was too late. I was like, well, I better get this outer space resources degree.
Nothing else to do. It's fine. I think the advertisement that got him was replace doom scrolling with micro learning. And so it's a way to like glean a whole bunch of information in a short amount of time.
Well, see, that I could totally get. I mean, because I can't stand, and I do it. It's, as I'm saying this, I'm pointing to myself like, why do you do this? I hate doom scrolling, and I do it all the time.
Oh yeah.
And there's nothing. It's like I keep on scrolling, hoping something new will pop up, and now Facebook just sucks because there's nothing but ads, and now I'm getting recommendations to follow other people that I have no idea who they are. I don't care, and it's just frustrating. I can't even keep up with the friends I got. And
my most recent recommendations are WWE Wrestling Worldwide or something. And I'm like, do I look like your target audience? Just because I'm
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm not.
Right generation, wrong demographic.
There you go.
But something like that I could see, because I do like reading the news, and I'll scroll through that. But even that, and that's the problem with tailored lists, or tailored, like even the news. Like you look at one thing, and then all of a sudden you get like a whole category like filled with that. I'm like, okay, I clicked on it once, guys. I don't want that to be my whole thing. But
I lingered for 3 seconds too long. I mean, literally, you don't have to click it. You just look at it for too long, and it's there.
Oh, and it's really bad on Facebook. You click on an ad by accident.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, that's
all
for the next 2 days. That's all you're going to see.
I wish people would accidentally click on my ads, and that's all they see.
Yeah. Yes. All they do is click on my ads, but they don't.
Right. Oh, that's true. That's true.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my gosh. All right. Who else?
That was all the news I had. But
yeah. All right. So if
because I've been trying not to
say hello, be sure to say hello. You're not doom scroll. What?
He's
I
trying
try
not
not
to.
to doom scroll, and so that's why I don't have as much to talk about.
Let's definitely not do it while we're on the show. Yeah.
We just
Does
check
anyone
right
not
quick.
have their phone within? Maybe that might be the ultimate like test of our stamina is putting the phone somewhere else and not touching it for an hour.
Honestly, I mean, if the author's dilemma ever got to the point where we could put on events or retreats or something like that, I wouldn't mind doing a day. I mean, obviously you have to check your phone at the end of the day because there are responsibilities that you have, but throughout the day it would be kind of nice to have a sans electronics except for your work or except for your writing, except for your laptop. Well, no internet.
No internet. Or like a no-go zone where if you're here, we don't do technology here, because it's nice to be apart from it. It's a little anxiety ridden at first, but it becomes you kind of bleed that out and you're like, oh, I don't need that in my hand all the time. It's freedom.
That's true. And then people, start reconnecting with parts of the brain that they haven't touched in quite a while. So
yeah, well, this is something I've been studying lately, and one of the best ways to treat anxiety, and Jen, correct me if I'm totally off base here.
Mushrooms.
But one of the
I've never taken them. I don't know. What's that?
Yes.
Mushrooms are an excellent treatment, but you face your anxiety as in you dwell in it.
Yeah.
Because most of the time what we fight, we actually somehow encourage. And so when we're actively, like if you have a problem with doom scrolling, and so your mind is like, stop it. No, if your anxiety is to not be on your phone, then the best way to do it is literally just say, I'm going to be anxious, put it down, and just sit there and see how long the anxiety lasts.
Yeah.
And if you can let yourself be anxious, what you find is eventually the anxiety does fail because it's no human condition can last forever. It's part of the feedback loops of our body. If you're doing something that's not in what's called homeostasis, then eventually your body will fight to get back into homeostasis because otherwise you die. And so anxiety can't last forever because your body won't let it. It'll eventually say, no, you're done. You're done.
Yeah. No, anxiety is a fear-based response. And so, whether it's FOMO, right? Your fear of missing out on what's happening online without you there, it's still going to happen. And I promise you, I have yet to see something that made me go, oh, I'm so glad I caught that. Like most of the time, I'm like, why am I even here? So yeah, if you face that fear, then absolutely the anxiety tends to wane a little bit. So,
well, we're glad you're here.
Yes.
Let's hold hands and buy the world of Coke. Like,
yeah.
I thought it was Pepsi.
No, it's Coke.
It's Coke.
No. That was was it a Kardashian? I don't remember.
No, it's an old
they
song.
offered
Like, if
the
I
Pepsi.
could buy the world of Coke, what a world.
Oh, I was thinking of the Pepsi commercial not too long ago where the girl handed the Pepsi to the riot police.
Oh, yeah.
I don't.
Pepsi. All right.
I don't know anything about that.
That was dumb. It made some headlines for about a week.
No.
That's wild. No, I didn't see that one. No, I was thinking about the old commercial where they're all peace, love, and Coca-Cola.
Well, maybe
back
it
in
was
the
old
80s.
Coca-Cola. The 1880s.
We should write a book about it.
You could make a nice steampunk version of that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh Lord. Well, we're coming up on 29 minutes. Might be a short show this evening, and that's okay.
It is okay.
That's okay.
It absolutely is.
I mean, it's kind of funny because we always started with the idea of it being 30 minutes long at the longest, and we always we hit 40 minutes, 45 sometimes.
Creeping on up.
Yeah. Honestly, though, this past week I've been listening to some other podcasts, and there's one guy I listened to who interviews operators or military folks, and he does really long form, like 3 or 4 hours long.
Woo.
But the stories are so interesting and intriguing, and then just to get that mindset of different people from walks of life, and some of it I do kind of get, but anyway, all that to say this, that would be
If
kind of
that's the
cool.
kind of thing.
It'd be kind of like Joe
If you can-
Rogan or
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is.
and then
Why?
well, he's one, and then another guy that I've been listening to lately is Sean Ryan, which
Mm.
it's interesting because, like I said, he focuses on operators, special forces, but he also had Senator a guy from Tennessee talking about UAPs, UFOs or whatever.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a very intriguing conversation because it's like, oh well, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
As
This
a
is a
writer,
good one to
you start
ask as
listening to
an
all
author.
that. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you want to know why is it that people are willing to listen to those people talk for 3-4 hours? There are people that will listen to the whole thing. In fact, Joe Rogan was like one of the most listened to humans on Earth for a while. He might still be, for all I know. And it's because these are somehow stories. You get enthralled in it, and so if you could probably study it and learn for yourself and better writing.
Oh, what's interesting is there are people that are listening to this show too.
Yes, but we're not quite as long-winded.
No.
I couldn't stand to hear any of us talk for that long. That would be like, I don't want to hear myself talk for 3 hours. I don't want to hear anybody
Actually,
else
to tell you
talk
the truth,
for
I go
3 hours.
back after every show. I don't do it like right then, but sometimes like a week later or maybe a couple weeks later when I can catch up, I listen to all of our shows just to kind of hear myself
listened to the
go,
first
so I can try to fix that. But no, I don't know. I like it.
It is true though that we no longer hear our own voice and think it's quite as weird as we used to. Because I know
That's
growing
true.
up, hearing my voice was weird, but now hearing my own voice, I'm like, well, that's just him.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
me.
I'm used to that guy's voice.
I like that guy.
I don't think of it as me. I think of it as the weird person that I have to pretend to be online to sell my books. I have never recorded a video that I went and listened to that was not performative.
Mm.
All of
What
them
about
are
the
performative.
shows? Like, what about this? So you go back and listen to it and be
This
like,
is
that's
it's
this
still
is you?
performative because I don't intend to ever listen to it.
Oh. He was here for it.
It's
He's
for
heard
other
it.
people.
All right.
Didn't know
Well.
that. Thanks, Hyrum.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I guess you're not one of the subscribers.
I am subscribed. I just don't
Just
listen.
never listened. Oh my god,
All right.
that's funny.
Well, that's 32 minutes in the books. If you enjoyed tonight's show, be sure to reach out to us at authorsdilemma@gmail.com. If you have any topics that you would like us to cover, by all means, please send them our way. We will try to look at it and get back to you. And, we'll let you know on Facebook what we're going to talk about, coming up in the future weeks, which, by the way, we do need to come up with our Discord and actually try to get more people on that.
Yeah.
Which at some point we will.
We will.
Yeah.
Promise.
Yeah. Yeah. Checks in the
Life
mail.
is chaos.
Yeah, it is for all of us. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for spending your time with us. And I hope you have a blessed week, and we will see you next time. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.